Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is D. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, you're Jeff Ackerman.
I am, and we are awfully late, but real life gets in the way sometimes. That's what happened.
What's that?
It's obligations. You know, your wife, my fiance.
We don't need to get dirty. Obla what with my wife? Like,
Hey.
Relax, kid.
Real
How's
life
the
gets in
dragon?
way. Yeah, House of the Dragon, episode 8. Oh my fucking god, I can't wait to talk about this with you.
TB&J! TB&J! TB&J!
House of the Dragon, episode 8, entitled The Lord of the Tides.
Lord.
And I'm going to deliver a short summary.
Yeah.
I am, and that is boom. So, 6 years on from the previous episode, Driftmark, Corlys Velaryon, Lord of the Driftmark, is severely wounded fighting in the Stepstones. His brother, Sir Vaemond, petitions King's Landing to name him as Corlys' heir, proclaiming Rhaenyra's son, Lucerys, illegitimate. Rhaenyra and Daemon return to the capital to defend Lucerys' claim. There they find King Viserys bedridden, disfigured, and mentally muddled. Queen Alicent and Sir Otto now oversee all royal matters. Alicent covers up Prince Aegon raping a handmaiden. Rhaenyra proposes 2 marriage arrangements to gain Princess Rhaenys' support, pledging Luke and Jace, her sons, to Rhaenys' granddaughters. She also implores Viserys to defend her succession, quoting Aegon the Conqueror's dream about the prince that was promised. As Vaemond's petition is presented at court, Viserys, barely ambulatory, enters the throne room and declares Lucerys the Driftmark heir. Daemon beheads Vaemond when he denounces Rhaenyra as a whore and her children as bastards. The family appears to reconcile during a feast, but after Viserys leaves, Aemond incites a fight with insinuations about Rhaenyra's 3 eldest sons' true paternity. Viserys, near death, mutters parts of Aegon the Conqueror's dream, which Alicent misinterprets to refer to their son Aegon. Alicent's lady-in-waiting, Talia, is secretly providing Daemon's former mistress, Mysaria, with information. I think we should do thumbs up, thumbs down. D, how do you feel about it?
This episode is a gigantic thumbs up.
Holy fuck,
until
yeah.
the last second where I go, wait. And I go I'm in that moment of do I look like an idiot?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm on the same page with this. Might be my favorite episode of the series so far, depending on how the finale goes. This was so fucking good. Paddy Considine is probably the best actor on television at this moment in time.
He does an amazing job at this, right? But it's a lot of things coming together for this. He does an amazing job. Obviously, the makeup, practical effects, CGI, I think, do all a fantastic job. The storyline that culminates in this episode is one of the most intriguing and cool storytelling devices or situations that I've come across. It's very original. It was unexpected, and these are the kind of moments that I wanted to come away with here. I don't feel that there's as many good moments like this as there were in the first season of Game of Thrones so far, and we're pretty well in at this point.
I think you're right. I think I'd agree with that.
But this was pretty damn epic, and it was up there with some of the better. Some of my most beloved moments this will probably be up there in the Game of Thrones universe, as one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
In this world. So that's something to say. I think in the World of Game of Thrones that they're showing the heights that it can be. We'll see, kind of. So that's something of itself to say that I kind of know, I don't have to. I could even know what happens, and it doesn't matter. It's still good. So this was a zoo. How about you?
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely. I think I'm going to remember Viserys' crippled ass hobbling through the throne room, and then he stumbles, and the Kingsguard goes to help him, and he says, "I'm fine," and he stumbles again and drops his crown, and then Daemon shows up to help his brother to the throne. It was so fucking touching
to me. And as people
to me.
have apparently heard by now, but maybe not you. That was unscripted and happened, and Matt Smith, is it?
Yeah, Matt Smith, who plays
picked
Damon.
it up, and they kept it in, and they were like, yeah, no, that's great, that's perfect. He picks it up and gives him the crown.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
I got fucking choked up and teary-eyed.
Okay, so early in this season, man, do we leave with this? I mean, there's the questions of succession. There's a lot of cool stuff with Vayman and this whole line and the whole situation that's going on with Rhaenys,
the daughter.
Rhaenys, right? With Rhaenys and the Driftwood throne and how that's all coming out. And they set up Vayman in the other episode, the funeral, where he's kind of like preaching at the funeral about like true blood and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Damon laughs at it, all that stuff. And this, I think they did a really good job in terms of
Pardon
phones
myself,
off there, big guy.
Yeah. Rookie mistake.
They did a great job of this whole question of succession and it coming again, which does pay off later. I really feel like. So there's this sham situation. They introduce Viserys and he's a fucking corpse from The Walking Dead. oh my god! It is the most vile thing in the world, and you know, he's milk with a poppy. He's all fucked up. He clearly out of his plan. This is all it, and everything they did was fucking gross, right? So, you know, they named the next two kids that Damon and she have had, and one of them's Viserys and one of them's Aegon or something like that.
It's Aegon and Viserys. Yep.
And he's just like, and then the baby starts crying, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like,
yeah, this is so awful.
Like, of course you're a corpse. Of course you're scaring the child, but like it's Viserys is just like, holy shit. Like, I mean, it's okay. I thought you were dead so many episodes ago, and now you're still. So this is where we are.
I feel like every episode from like 3 or 4 on, I've been saying like Viserys is gonna kick it in the next episode, and he hung on to fucking episode 8. What a trooper!
So the big scenes are that one, and when Rhaenyra pleads with him about the Song of Ice and Fire and sets up the ending that we get later. Mm-hmm. But then we get the side plot of Aegon's rape of servants and stuff like this, and how Alicent deals with it, and her. I mean, with where things are going, I don't know if this is more to Alicent's story or if it's to Aegon's story, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know which of these matters more, but in the way they're framing it, it's definitely more of Alicent's.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't tell. Is she dead?
Who?
Did she give her poison that
no,
she drank?
I think she just gave her the abortion tea.
Then what does "I know you won't, I won't tell anybody," and her saying "I know you won't" and walking away like willfully, like her saying "Holy shit," like "I know you won't" means I know you're not going to because you're going to be dead.
I don't. That seems out of character for Alicent, just because how like hesitant she is to actually kill people. Like, she was really, really upset when Larys killed the strong guys earlier, which also his own blood. But I guess that doesn't matter to him.
Oh, she was so upset.
She was super upset.
She went, she may have clutched a pearl. She may have, She may have clutched her purse even.
She was very uncomfy with that idea.
She may have even said, "Well, I never." And
I am of the fainting variety.
I don't, and that's why I'm just like, what? That was one of the things that I'm like, okay, I get the scene, but land one way or the other on what you're doing here.
Yeah. It was very intimidation-y, and my assumption was it was the same tea that they had prepared earlier for the pregnancy.
Obviously.
The pregnancy be gone.
I get the setup, but they threw "I know you won't" in there, and it's like, and there's constantly this implication of what the fuck are you about to do?
Well, she also gave her a bag of gold. So, like, I mean, why would you give a bag of gold to someone you're about to kill?
You give her the bag of gold, and you tell her this is moon tea in order to get her to drink the poison and make me done. And she says, "I don't. I'm done with this." And she says, I know you're not going to say anything because I just fucking killed you. Like, that's what I read on Alicent. Now, I get that she would kind of have the same feeling or look either way, but you don't say "I know you fucking won't," like, unless
like a madman.
You just fucking killed that person. So, I think
it plays both ways. I will give you credit. It plays both ways.
It doesn't because you don't say that.
You don't say that unless you're going to kill somebody.
You don't write that line in without that implication. So I just think it's like you don't.
I interpret it more of like a supportive, loving stance of like, I know you won't, I trust you, but the way you're talking, it very much
the
like
whole thing is her being pragmatic and sardonic. Not sardonic, but like just her being incredibly cynical to be like,
I need a soundbite that I get to play whenever
matter.
you use a big word.
Sardonic would be like more laughing in the face. It'd be more comical or sarcastic in the face of cynicism.
Today's vocab word is brought to you by sardonic.
Either way, but
ask your doctor if sardonic is right for you.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
If only I had a soundboard in front of me.
Anyway,
yeah. So I just didn't quite get that scene, but I get the story they were telling with Allison and her continued, griminess that she has to get into with no want of doing any of it, which is the same situation Rhaenyra generally finds herself in. Either way,
yeah. It was also interesting seeing Allison handle the two sides of this thing, because like the girl, she goes to her, she hugs her, she's trying to like be comforting unless she's killing her. I couldn't tell. And then she goes to Aegon, who's just asleep in bed, and she like rips the covers off him, and she's just like, "What the fuck have you done?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. It was just harmless fun." And then just slaps him and says, "You are no son of mine." And she is having to put out all these fires for this kid that she's trying to make king, and he clearly has no interest. He has no desire. All he wants to do is rape chicks and have fun and be a gross little maggoty boy.
And Allison is just like, I don't understand. The more I just watch this, I'm just like, Allison is just trying to, like, she's just trying to be nice about fucking people over what's been said just because she's like, "Oh, your kids will be killed." Like, you told me to fucking have them with him. Like, they wouldn't exist. That, like, it's so clearly all the push of Otto into this, and she's just painting that. She's like, "No, let's do it nice." And it's like, no. Anyway, it's just like she's just more and more what's the word? Compromised.
Mm-hmm.
And less to me, like, she's just an idiot. Like, she's the true idiot, even though Rhaenyra is ignorant to the small folk. She's completely aware of these small folk, yet is still doing it. This is where I see the difference of, like, the Rhaenyra of, like, or I'm starting to, is where Rhaenyra is ignorant to small folk and other people's issues and who she hurts along the way. But if she were made aware of it, I think she would stand for her principles. And I think that's what people latch onto in terms of this character.
I think you're
like,
right.
Not being blamed for your ignorant act, but being absolutely blamed for the ones you're totally aware of. Doesn't matter if you feel bad about it or you felt trapped in that situation. You're faced with the decision. What do you do? Do you rebel against the wrongdoings or do you not? And that's exactly, I think, what we're supposed to see here. But that's her whole story is interesting, but it sets up the trial, and this thing sets up it's a farce. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Rhaenys gives her gives her standing. She stands with her husband, honestly, who's
her husband, who has said he wants
dying.
Jacaerys to be the next king of Driftwood.
She continues to be steadfast and, in a way, non-committal to anything. She's just standing by what someone else says. Almost like, well, y'all had the opportunity to hear what I want when I could have been queen.
Yeah.
You didn't. So I stand by what my husband said. My opinion means nothing, right? That's what she's kind of like. She's like, fuck it. Like, she doesn't have any reason to stand. As far as she knows in the conversation she had with Rhaenyra, like, she still killed her son she has no reason to not believe it. I feel like, even though she swore that she didn't.
Why they killed what's his fucking name? Who even cares? She killed her husband or had him sent away, whatever. She made the world think she killed him because she was like, "Oh, they're going to be scared of what we can do." But like that's never come up again.
Well,
maybe it will.
They can't. The idea that they can't prove it. Like, they can assume that, like, well, isn't that convenient that you do this and get married right away? It's, like, so obvious. They made it look like it was like, well, the writing's on the, like, shit. It's no different than anything else. Like, you just clearly fucking killed him. And she swears she didn't. And that was the whole thing, was they'll believe that we did it.
Yeah.
Even though she let him go. Fine, whatever. I like the idea. I like the softening of it, but she absolutely still kills somebody else. Either way, beside the point. Let's get to this situation because Rhaenyra gives her thing. They go, Rhaenys gives her speech, and then Rhaenyra is about to like speak up whatever she's gonna say before Otto's like, "Well, too bad, fuck that," and give this weird little clap before he rules against it, and it's about to be a farce, and then behold King Viserys, all hail King Viserys, as the Kingsguard and give him an entrance into it, and the doors fucking open, and this fucking walking corpse is there.
Yep. And he walks so slowly as the music swells, and it's a beautiful piece of music. They did I believe it's still Ramin Djawadi doing the soundtrack for House of the Dragon, as it was in Game of Thrones. And fucking hell, I love this goddamn piece of music as he's walking so slowly.
It's not even that it's just so slow. They use it full 2 minutes of screen time.
Yep.
To have him walk from the edge, down the steps, over and down the hall, past the knot, all the swords, where you're just like, "Oh, a little tumble," and he's just mincemeat.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, when he
he goes to Otto and he's like, "I will take the Iron Throne."
That's the I will sit the throne today.
Yeah.
And just the fuck you that is happening here to Otto's plans, to the wrench to all of it. It's about to happen now. Here's where it happens. Fuck that. You get the Driftwood throne. This is bullshit. They're bastards. Like, you're fucked.
Yep.
That's where it's about to happen. And he comes in and fights for his daughter. Now, he said before, what is the moment? Like, what if I'd been tested, right? He asked a couple episodes before.
Was I a good king?
And this moment of just an old, groggedy man walking slowly to his throne is the most heroic, moment of this man's life. And what he's doing is so significant and meaningful. And he gets this throne, and the dropping of the crown, and and Daemon get it right. He gets to the throne, and he starts talking,
and it's so labored.
No, he just says, "Excuse me, I'm very confused. I'm just so confused." And you're like, "What the hell is he gonna say?" He's like, "But I don't understand why we're still talking about this succession." And he's like, "Oh shit, guys got some gusto."
Yeah, boy.
And he literally dives in and he's like, "How are we still talking about this? I have made my point." And his speech and this moment is just everything that he has left. And when this guy stands up and says these things and says they're bastards and he's a whore and she's a whore,
he gets up.
He
and
just
draws
gets up
his
and
dagger.
you're just like, no, this is the issue with it. Like, and then Daemon's like, "I'll have your tongue for that," and then he can keep his tongue.
Yep, he can keep his tongue. Just cuts his head clean in half.
Okay, from the first episode on, Daemon was right. You need me by your side.
Yeah,
you need me, like, to save you against yourself. Like, you can't. I'll be your sword. And the problem is that Damon back then wasn't ready, and this is the thing. Like Damon back then couldn't have done this. He couldn't have played it that cool. He'd have slaughtered like them and like the 7 people around him, for funsies or something, and like so he would have. But
now he's had 20 years. He's grown up a bit.
Right, and it's just this great moment of brother and mutual respect, and then this just badass king just saying, "Fuck you! Look what I just did," and that gives him the gravitas to move into this next scene where he's like, "I'll have supper." He's like, "So it's breakfast." He's like, "Tonight I'm gonna have supper."
I believe that happened before.
Whatever,
but I
it
get your
doesn't
point.
matter. Like he's just like, "Tonight I'm gonna have supper," and he goes to this supper, and he almost does it. He goes the complete opposite way than he was on the throne. He takes off his mask. He's eyeless. He's literally a Walking Dead corpse.
His cheek is like decomposed. You can see into his mouth.
He has
It's so
more holes in his face than anyone has on most of their other body.
Yeah, I'm surprised they were able to keep it like clean and oh gosh, like it's oh.
It was just like it was great, and he just begs his family, not as their king, but as their grandsire, like their head of council, just who loves them.
Yeah.
And he begs, and for one shining moment, he gets it, and you get Otto with his fucking little clap, like
Yeah.
he
Oh my
does,
God.
Where I'm just like, what a fucking choice that this guy makes
Your little golf clap.
to make me hate him somehow more.
Yeah.
Even though I kind of dug Otto initially, like he has these qualities of, he's definitely a memorable character. I'll put it that.
Mm-hmm.
But this scene is just like, these two scenes together show you, but this heroic man, this hero, this fighter and lover, like literally this guy, this hero that has it all.
Yeah.
In this shiny moment, and everything we saw leading up to this is the reason that all of this stuff is so, powerful, because this moment is consistent. The one thing he's been consistent about is Rhaenyra, and that he loves all of them, and he doesn't want any of them to fight. That's all he's wanted.
He just wanted a happy family.
And that has been the consistency. And for this doddering failure of a king, right? Like this just not even failure, just meh. This just unnerving kind of wishy-washy kind of muley kind of king, that this character that you're just like, what is this? Who am I watching? Culminates to this heroic moment before his death.
Yep.
So he gets the whole thing before it all falls to shit, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of knew that was inevitable, right?
Yeah, because the book is about the war of the children fighting over the throne and all that. Like, we knew it was coming.
I'd say it doesn't quite matter. I think it solidified any question that the audience had in the decisions, and that Rhaenyra had it, and Alicent even was moved to do something if it doesn't go to this pig situation and the kids, and then it transfers over to the kids things. But as far as the adults, it wasn't enough to push the envelope. And that was enough. Just the fact that it wasn't, he could die and it wouldn't, like, if you end the episode there, right?
If he dies,
he just
that day,
goes to bed and then the last scene doesn't happen. The dream interpretation, he thinks he's talking to Rhaenyra, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. It's perfect. It doesn't matter what they say at the end. I don't know where they're going with this to say that, like, what is Alicent, her motive? Like, this doesn't matter. Like, does she believe it? That doesn't, nothing tracks here. And this is the other issue I had with Alicent's storyline, is like the things that are happening and that she's saying, and it like don't always track. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're telling, so I don't know if I'm missing them.
No, it seems like she's very much on path to like completely reconcile with Rhaenyra. She says like you will make a fine queen. She makes a toast to her, and after Viserys is like overcome with pain, he gets carted out of dinner, and Alicent is like I should see to him. And Rhaenyra's like, yeah, we should get back to Dragonstone. And she's like, no, please don't leave yet. I would love for you to stay. And she's like, I'll take my family back. I'll return on Dragonback tomorrow. Like, I'll be right back as soon as my family is settled back in Dragonstone so that we can keep chatting and be friends again. Like, everything seems to be coming up Millhouse. Everybody's reconciling. Everybody's doing great. And then the king just says a little thing on his deathbed while he's addled by Milk of the Poppy. And Alicent's like, oh, my son should be king. Fuck everything that just happened in the last 10 minutes.
Imagine this different if Otto happens to be there at the time. And he goes, what is this? And then it tracks, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's more Otto kind of pushing this, and there's another thing, and her being like, I guess, and her not really buying into this thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. If she bought anything that he said the entire day to get to this part, come on. Like,
no, I totally understand.
now, also, there's the element of, like, well, on this epic of days for the king, shit, why am I supposed to stop listening to him here? Like,
yeah.
But I don't think that's it doesn't
Anybody-
track. Like, anybody with a brain's like, okay, he just had Milk of the Poppy again.
Exactly
and
what
now
I was
he's
going
up-
to say. Anybody who's got 2 fucking brain cells is like, oh, he was clear-minded earlier because he refused Milk of the Poppy all day long, and now that he's in bed and I just gave him some, now he's saying stuff, and he's like, don't you remember our conversation earlier? And I'm just like, no, because we didn't have a conversation earlier. That should have clued you in. Maybe he thinks he's talking to somebody else, Alicent. You fucking dumbass.
Now, is it possible that
It's just willful ignorance. It has to be.
that right? This is what I'm saying. Is this just her being like, oh well, there's like before this, there was like Viserys left no stone
doubt.
unturned, no doubt, and this opens that up and gives her free. So if it continues, it's her.
Yep.
It's her. Like, it's you.
It's you.
That like, it's not. You're hiding behind this pretense, like Rhaenyra said, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Like, fuck you screwing up anything about this guy's thing. Even though, honestly, I don't think it matters. Like, what is the? Can't they just say that he did that? Wouldn't they just say that he did that? Wouldn't that be always the plan?
Yeah, like if Alicent doesn't go to Otto with this information, what was his plan?
Wouldn't they always be like, well, on his deathbed, he whispered to us, like, I really want him. After all, like, that was, how would that would have had to be what they say happens. Like, that's always the situation. Like, it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if we look at like the trial, how it went, right? Like, they would have just settled the Driftwood throne, and then, which would have weakened her claim, but it wouldn't have like settled like the claim. He still would have been, as long as the king was alive, like, they're not going to do that. And then when he died, they would just be like, oh, he said, yeah, Rhaenyra. He's here to question it. Like,
all of this could have been avoided if, when Viserys was deteriorating and knew he could no longer take the throne every day, he just abdicates to Rhaenyra and lets her just assume the title even though he's still alive. That's all you gotta do. You just abdicate.
real easy.
Real fucking easy. Instead of...
Maybe they don't have that in the bylaws.
Maybe abdication doesn't exist in Westeros, in which case you should definitely start redoing your constitution. You definitely don't have one of those. Whatever the fuck you have, whatever's written in stone somewhere, to take a look at that. Re-examine your fucking priorities.
Dragonstone.
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, just that this was such a epic storyline, and I really liked the showdowns on it, and it was all just really good. It was cool Game of Thrones, and then there was like this taste of the bad part, right?
Yeah.
Like, a why? like a forced error, like an unforced error. All right, like a
Well, they have to bring back the conflict.
right.
So even though this episode was like a solid A plus,
this
the
is
last
issue
5
is they
minutes
don't
I was like,
need
what?
it. They don't need it. Like they end with the stalemate, and they want an ending. You just have him die.
My guess is, leading into the finale, right, is that Alicent slips up and mentions exactly what Viserys said to her on his deathbed to, like, Rhaenyra about, like, he said, like, Aegon's dream, and he must be the prince promised. And Rhaenyra puts 2 and 2 together, and she's like, wait, he was referring to our conversation. He definitely wasn't talking to you about your son.
Oh my gosh, another opportunity for her to, like, not have a reason to, like, we got to be past that, right? Like, we got to be past, like, you have no more reasons to believe it. And then they have a conversation. Now she has this opening. You're going to say, Rhaenyra's going to close that opening again, and then it's going to open again somehow. Like,
I don't think it's going to matter.
I think it's, I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what happens. That's obviously, but all I know is that was epic. That was worth the season generally for me, because that was just so unexpected. And I really do go in here for knowing I don't know what I want. I want to be surprised. Like, one of my favorite episodes of Game of Thrones, probably the most moving, is well, 2 of them. Like, one, I guess, is a death, but the death is not what is meaningful to me. It's the backstory, which is the Hodor, hold the door.
Yeah.
Like, granted, he's on, but that's not what is revealed or happens in this movie. But what happens is that you find out that Hodor has been the result of this moment, this in his entire life. That's what happened. It's not a death. I mean, I guess it is. It's him knowing his death, or the moment of it. So that's what's crazy. And I was like, holy shit! I didn't expect to experience a Twilight Zone situation in the midst of this. Like, that's what I didn't expect out of nowhere. I didn't expect in Tyrion's trial for him to just deliver this amazing speech of just and him have no recourse and just say, I demand drive-by combat. Because it's basically a death sentence for him, right? Like, he's just like, he has no warrior. He has nobody that I can conceive of that was going to stand by him at the time. These are the 2 best moments in the thing, and they're not deaths per se. Like, they are arguably related to that stakes, but, like, it's just these crazy moments of intrigue and performance. That's what I was looking for in Game of Thrones. That's what I got, I think, in this episode.
Yeah, this episode really fucking delivered. I was so happy with the way it played out. Minus, Viserys' last words. We could have skipped that. But beyond that, I think this is definitely...
I actually like my love.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, like him saying...
His last words are my love, as I assume he's, like, being embraced by his love, his first wife.
Yeah. Emma. Yeah. And oh, God. Where Rhaenyra's talking to him, pleading for him to stand up for her at court.
Yeah, it's great.
And he calls her my only child. And I was like, ooh, that's... He calls Rhaenyra my only child.
In front of whom?
It was just the 2 of them. When Rhaenyra's, like, in his bedroom, like, pleading with him to come defend Jace's claim to the Driftwood throne before he shows up at court.
So Viserys says that?
Yeah. He calls her my only child.
Wow. Well, disregards everybody else, huh?
Yeah, it
He's
does.
Pretty shitty dad on them, huh?
Well, it just means he loves Rhaenyra more. Anyway, I think that wraps up episode 8 for us for right now.
Great episode. Worth the season.
Really fucking fantastic. Oh my fucking God. So great. Stay tuned for episode 9, because we'll be right back with that in a separate podcast.
We'll be right back.
Remember to like and subscribe and all those fun things.